Good day and welcome to this Focus On. I'm Dewald Rademacher. The annual South Africa Global Business Services and BPESA Alchemy Awards came to an end on the 10th of November. The global business services or business process outsourcing sector has seen phenomenal growth over the past 5 years. But to explain this more in detail, I'm joined by Reshni Singh, CEO of BPESA. Reshni, thank you for joining us. Now, I can only imagine that COVID has spurred this kind of growth on in this particular sector.
Good day, Dewald, and to your viewers. Yes, so obviously COVID has done the sector many favors. It was one of the few sectors in the economy that was actually able to grow. And that was because of the collaboration between government and industry to be able to keep the sector or declare the sector as essential services. So we were able to continue servicing our global clients, especially around essential services like telcos, utilities, etc. And over and above that, they saw South Africa, because we were able to transition fairly quickly into a work from home a model or a hybrid working solution. They saw South Africa as a de-risking strategy for businesses to actually send additional seats or additional work to South Africa from other destinations such as India and Philippines. So it was a year when we actually still grew, and we created the first year of the lockdown probably about 18,000 jobs in South Africa. So it's really been phenomenal, and ever since we've been growing about 24% year on year. And sitting at quite a favorable position currently in terms of creating opportunities for the youth.
Before we get on those kind of opportunities, I just wanted to get a sense from you as to some of the key messages that came out from this event.
Yeah, so the event was obviously attended by international delegates as well as local industry players. And I think the key messaging, South Africa actually won the Destination of the Year for customer experience for 2 consecutive years. And basically, the conversation started off with, why were we able to win that? What is South Africa's value proposition all about? And then we obviously deep dived into areas around skills, innovation, technology, and strategies, around unlearning, relearning, to be able to adapt to global needs, adapt to the digital economy, etc. So there was a number of, international speakers as well as local speakers, that were specialists in these areas. So those were the topics.
Now, obviously, this is getting some kind of support from the public or from the government as well. But this is not a government-only run entity. This is a shared initiative from private and public sector. Is that correct?
Yes. So BPESA is actually a national industry association for the global business services sector. They actually get accredited by the DTIC as the National Industry Association, and we work in very close collaboration with government. We recently put together the Global Business Services Master Plan, which speaks to a target of 500,000 jobs by 2030. And out of those 500,000 jobs, 80% would be focused on youth. So, any sort of policy that's designed around the sector is actually co-created between government and industry.
Now, on that, you say you're bringing the youth sector in this because the unemployment gap on the youth sector is significantly larger than our overall unemployment rate. How will this help?
So this would help because, there's a commitment by industry to actually focus not just on unemployed youth, but also excluded youth. So we're looking at those youth that have been marginalized, that have never had opportunities before, youth that are actually coming from homes that lived off social grants, etc. So it's been able to give them opportunities and bring them into the mainstream economy. We're also trying to assist, there's a platform that's called sayouth.mobi that's been launched by the presidency. So all unemployed youth in South Africa actually are able to register on this platform, and then we get our industry as employers to also register their employment opportunities on that platform, and then there's an opportunity to actually match make. It's also geographic, so you are able to access jobs which is a maximum of 2 taxi rides away from your home. So it creates an ecosystem of demand and supply to be able to also address the unprecedented demand that we are seeing from the global environment.
Now, this sector, when we speak about outsourcing, it's not just, as we spoke about off camera, in a call center environment. It tackles various industries. What kind of industries are we looking at?
Yeah, so it's all IT-enabled services, anything that can be outsourced to a third-party provider, and that can include finance and accounting services, legal services, other professional services. It could also be creative services, and anything literally. So it's not just around, when we speak of contact centers, we call that voice BPO. And then we obviously have the non-voice activity, which is your back office functions, when you are able to process debtors or creditors or do debt management, because these are things that you would not necessarily need voice for, but you could still be able to do it from anywhere across the globe.
And I'm reading here that McKinsey had a report. The global BPO industry is valued at $160 billion and expected to grow to $183 billion by 2023. Where is South Africa positioned in this?
So obviously we have the benefit of the foreign currency. So all of our services, because it's targeted on offshore services, it's all invoiced in your foreign currencies, which is why it is actually as extensive as that. And we obviously way ahead of our trajectory in terms of targets around export revenue. I don't have an exact figure for you, but I can tell you we definitely on track in terms of job numbers. We are on track in terms of export revenue that comes in from providing these services.
And you also said that South Africa won this Alchemy Award twice in a row. What do you have new targets set for next year?
Yeah, so it's actually the it is the Customer Experience Award, so the offshore destination of the year for customer experience. So where in the world do you get the best customer experience? And we're quite fortunate that it is South Africa. And the nice thing about this award is that we actually get measured by clients and not by analysts or anybody else. It's the actual people that are the recipients of the service. So we don't actually have to do anything. There's a external independent consulting firm that does this evaluation and this assessment, and it always comes out. At least for the last 2 years, we've been top. For 2022, we actually shared with India. 2021, we were the top destination, and prior to that, we were either in second or third place. So as you can see, and all of this is basically due to the quality of services that we deliver from South Africa. So it's definitely not a low-cost destination. It's more around quality of service that can be delivered out of South Africa.
Now, it's good to know our services are of that standard, but the next question kind of derives on the challenges in this particular sector, more particularly energy infrastructure. Does it somehow impact the sector, or is it just another hurdle to overcome?
Well, it hasn't actually had, any sort of additional impact that it has to all other sectors in the economy. The key thing that, our sector does is that they do invest quite heavily on alternate power supply. So, when we have to transition during load shedding, it is a seamless process. So it's a sector that definitely invests heavily, in alternate power supply. So we are still, it hasn't negatively impacted our growth. We haven't lost, prospective campaigns due to the electricity challenges. And because I think the power cuts are just 2 hours, it's very easily transitioned and managed within each operator environment.
Now, as we bring this conversation to a close, who is South Africa's biggest clients? For which countries do we?
Yeah, so UK still remains our largest source market. Where about 60% of the offshore work that we do from South Africa actually services the UK market, and that's predominantly because of our time zone differences, which is a maximum of 2 hours. And then that's followed closely by the US, which is sitting at about 35% at the moment. And the ability of South Africa to also provide services, you know, 24/7 assists with us. What we call is follow the sun approach in terms of service delivery. So you could be servicing Australia at one time, servicing the UK at another part of the day, and servicing the US at another part of the day. So because we are able to give our clients that type of solution, you know, that's probably one of the reasons why we've also grown to the extent we have.
Reshni, thank you so much for coming in and explaining this topic to us in more detail. That was Reshni Singh, CEO of BPESA. And until next time, goodbye.